Okay, very good, Kimber.
Okay, I call to order today's Parks, Culture and Recreation Board meeting. All right,
At
first
5:30?
at 5:30, I'm sorry. And first, I guess we'll go around and talk about who's all here. And you guys want to start over there on your side, Jen?
Hi, I'm Kelly Adams. I'm a Special Projects Administrator with Public Affairs.
Good evening, Jen Burbidge, Director of Parks, Culture and Recreation for the city.
Hi, Commissioner Hillary Dykstra.
Gary Larson.
Camber, good?
Jordy Ratke, I'm Recreation Coordinator with Special Events and Marketing.
I'm Jenny Wilson, I'm Senior Parks Planner.
We have Sarah Smith over here. She's our Executive Assistant.
Online?
Aaron Wheeler, Commissioner, third term.
Hi, Bill Fosbury, Commissioner.
Sue Felash, Recreation Manager. And just for the record, Cody is waiting in the queue. He should be in shortly.
We haven't started the webinar yet.
All right.
It's recording.
Was it not before? Oh, was it? Should we do introductions again?
Now it's on.
Oh, okay. All right, we are going to do introductions again, but we need to do the whole thing, like the roll call too, or the
Should be
call to
really
order.
good at it.
Let's go ahead
Okay,
and,
can you recall it? Sorry, we weren't recording. Can you recall it to order at
No problem.
5:32?
yes, can we call to order at 5:32? And if we can go around the table once again to introduce ourselves.
Hi, I'm Kelly Adams. I'm the Special Projects Administrator for the Public Affairs Department.
Hello, Jen Burbidge, Director of Parks, Culture and Recreation.
Hi, Hillary Dykstra, Commissioner.
Gary Larson, Commissioner.
Camber, good, Commissioner.
Jordy Ratke, Recreation Coordinator with Special Events and Marketing.
I'm Jenny Wilson, I'm the Senior Parks Planner.
We have Sarah Smith, our Executive Assistant with us as well.
Aaron Wheeler, Park Commissioner.
Bill Fosbury, Parks Commissioner.
Sue Felash, Recreation Manager.
Cody Lee, Recreation Supervisor.
All right. And can we go ahead and get approval of the agenda and minutes from August 2nd, 2023 meeting? Or do we
I'm
have?
gonna do the agenda first.
Yes.
Okay.
Do we have any corrections or anything? All right.
So she'll be looking for a motion for approval of the agenda.
Yes, may I get a motion for approval of the agenda?
I make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All right. All right.
All
and
those,
all those
sorry.
in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, I'll get the hang of this.
It's okay.
won't
You got it.
I? All right, can I have any questions on the minutes or any changes? No? Okay, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from August 2nd?
So moved.
So moved. All in favor?
Or we need a second?
Aye.
We need a second?
I'll second that.
All right,
Mr. Dykstra seconded?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Okay, do we have any announcements?
I do have one announcement. Unfortunately, I wish I did not have this announcement. I have a bit of sad news, unfortunately, to share with you, just to make sure that the commissioners know that Michael Jameson has recently passed away. So some of you may know him from helping start the Gold Star Memorial Foundation of Lacey, and being instrumental in getting the monument up at Civic Plaza. And I think that Chair or Vice Chair Good probably is going to share some more information about him with her update today, but just wanted to make sure that you knew that and just say that our thoughts go out to the family, the Jameson family, and he will be greatly missed. And yeah, again, sorry to start off on a sad note, but just wanted to make sure that this commission knew that that had happened recently. So, thank you.
Okay, regarding public comment, did we receive anything via email?
No, we did not.
And do we have anybody online?
No, not looking to give public comment.
Okay, and we do not, just verifying nobody's hiding, that we have anybody present. Okay. All right, then we can go ahead and move on to business items. A, civic clerk orientation, Kelly Adams, Public Affairs.
Hello, I'm just gonna grab this mouse. All right, I'm gonna get into our browser here. So first, my name is Kelly. I work in public affairs, and I'm generally focused on modernization efforts here at the city. And so I'm sure that you've noticed that your agendas and your minutes look a little bit different right now. And that's part of our modernization effort and transparency efforts here at the city. So I'm going to share with you a project that we've been working on for quite some time. Let's see. Sharing the screen. There we go. Okay, so this is our website, cityoflacey.org. And I'm going to minimize this video screen here. Pardon us for those of you who are online. We have a lot going on our monitor here. So one thing that we have done to make public meeting materials easier for the public to access and for our advisory boards to access is we put public meetings right here, right in the middle of the first screen of our website. So if you click on this gavel, this will take you to our public meetings portal. And if you scroll down on this public meetings portal, you'll see a few things. And for the benefit of our audience, I want to show a zoomed in view of this web page. So this has everything you need to engage with and to view a public meeting. So in the upper left-hand corner, we have our #1 feature for improvement, which was a simple navigable calendar so that our audience can very easily navigate to a date on the calendar where there is a public meeting. We can also search for a certain date range. We can limit to event categories. So if we just want to see our Parks, Culture, and Recreation Board, there we go. And now it will search only for Parks, Culture, and Recreation Board meetings. And as you can see, this meeting we're in right now is live. And if we want to search for a search phrase, Jenny, would you mind typing in the word museum? So I'm going to turn this filter off because I want you to see how this works here. So let's go ahead and museum.
A million ends.
That's
That will
weird.
go away. That's just like
All
my
right,
own
I'm gonna
keyboard.
highlight it. And you hit delete.
Oh, there
There we go. So this tool is pretty powerful in that it will search. Right now, we have 2 years of archives in. So if you search by whatever phrase you need, it will search all of the PDFs, all of the agendas, all of the presentations, and give you like a legislative history of that item. So right now, we can look and we see that there's a variety of meetings where the museum is mentioned. And if you can scroll up, well, I can scroll up, see where, scrolling down, it gives us very detailed results. So when the public is interested on the history of a certain item, it's much easier for them to do research. Go back and view today. So let's take a look at the meeting that we are in right now. So what the portal does is for an individual meeting, it gives you a one-stop shop. So here we have an itemized meeting overview. This is where we can go in and actually look at these individual files. If you'll notice, our agendas and minutes have a much cleaner look so that they're easier to read. We picked a font that had better accessibility. What we eventually do is we go back and any presentations that you have at your meetings, we upload them here so that the audience can see presentation slides. I'm not gonna click on the video, but there is a video. So this is where you can watch the live video or what's already been recorded. And right now, Sarah Smith is typing in minute notes and bookmarking in this system. So you'll easily be able to navigate to the chapter of the agenda item that you're looking for. In the meeting files, this gives us our agenda packet, minutes, and you can download it in PDF or in plain text. And plain text is really vital for translation software, for e-readers, for all sorts of assistive technology. And we can also share the meeting. And so if our audience signs up for a free subscription account, they can subscribe to as many public meetings as they're interested in. So whenever anything new is published, it will email them a notification and say, hey, come check out the meeting, it's ready to go. Or it'll tell them when the meeting is live. So this is a public facing portal. There is also an additional tool that you will have access to likely in 4 to 6 weeks, and it's called the Boards Portal. It's a version of this website where you'll be able to store notes, do electronic voting, participate in electronic roll call, and see exactly where the meeting is at. And so you'll see what item you're on, you'll see any attachments, and you'll be able to make your own notes on those attachments. Are there any questions? I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
I have a question. So with that board portal, will that only be accessible during the meeting, or is that, yeah, I'll just pose that question personally.
That tool is available to you at all times. As soon as we get you signed up for that and get an appropriate email address in the system and set that up with your staff, you'll be able, that's a preparatory tool and a follow-up tool.
So I guess my main, what I was leading to is there will be no risk with this of us consequentially like creating a quorum through this, like is there like a chat feature or anything like on this able to act?
There's no chat feature. What it will do is it has an agenda view for you, so you can see it's very similar to the public portal. You can make notes. Those notes are discoverable through a public records request. So I would be mindful of that.
Okay.
But it's really a preparatory tool for you to prepare for meetings.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Any other questions? Well, I look forward to coming back in a few weeks and providing you an update of exactly when you'll have access to that tool and to answer any further questions that you have.
Well, thank you so much for putting that together. I appreciate it. Okay. And we have B, staff presentations by, I hope I didn't mess this up, Jordy. I'm so sorry. Bracky, okay. Parks, Culture Recreation Coordinator, Cody Lee, Parks Culture and Recreation Supervisor.
I click through by doing that. Share the screen, share the screen. All right, I'm gonna pass.
Did you already share the screen? Escape out and then. Oh, I see. Just minimize and then hit share. Yep. There you go.
Thank you.
Oh, there you go. Cute.
So first off, thank you for having me. For those of you who don't know, my name is Jordy Ratke. I started with Lacey Parks Culture and Recreation back in 2010 as an intern who grew to part-time. I was hired on full-time in 2013 as a recreation coordinator working with special events and sports. In 2022, we had this little guy come to our family, and since then I have been transitioning to a half-time position, still working with events, but also focusing on marketing for the department. So that's allowed me to still do what I love to do, and also get to work on my newest job title, which is mom. I'm here today to talk to you about our upcoming event, which is Lacey Children's Day. It's a free event for the whole family. I wanted to tell you a little bit more about it. It happens the first Saturday in October from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Huntermore Park. We allow the booths and organizations that are there, usually 40 to 60 of them, to participate for free. However, they just have to provide an activity or giveaway for the kids and families there. There's free inflatables, entertainment on stage, usually get a few big vehicles from our Public Works Department to come out and the fire station. And then we try to theme the event each year, and there's usually a main attraction that's related to that. We'll have some food vendors, and about 3,000 to 5,000 people will come out over the course of the 3 hours. It's a great way to kick off the fall season and a really fun, quick event to bring your family out to. So Children's Day has been a part of Lacey's history for 26 years. Each year we try to incorporate a theme and encourage the booths to participate and either align their game and activity to it, encourage the public if they want to come and dress up, kind of tied in with the Halloween and fall holiday if you want to. It's not required, but it's definitely a fun option. This is a few of the past year themes. We've done Once Upon a Time, dinosaurs, superheroes, and last year was a jungle theme, Go Wild. And that was really fun. Every year we print posters and bookmarks as advertisement. I handed out the bookmarks to you guys tonight. And we also have distributed them through the schools. However, with everything going a little bit more digital, we print less bookmarks and we post our flyer to Peach Jar. So all of the parents and families should get a notification that this event is coming up through Peach Jar. And I'm really excited because this year we got our flyer translated into Spanish so that Peach Jar will have both versions available for those families. As you can see, this year's theme is bugs and insects. Currently, we have 47 different organizations signed up. We have 5 food vendors, including Cotton Candy, Kettle Corn, Chick-fil-A, Stack's Burgers, and Stevie's Sweet Snacks, which is actually a 10-year-old entrepreneur who sells frozen treats out of her freezer bicycle. We will also have local dance groups performing on stage throughout the event, high impact dance, Fantasia twirlers, and Bach musicians. For our main attraction, we will have the Insect Safari and the Portland Insectarium visiting, and they're going to be hosting interactive displays. The Insect Safari is a collection of over 20 years worth of insects that have been preserved by Don Elin, who's a wealth of knowledge and ready to share as much information as he can with those visiting. And the Portland Insectarium is a physical location in Portland whose staff normally don't travel, but they made an exception for us, and they'll have some live bugs ready to interact with the kids. Little did I know, the 2 contacts are actually colleagues. Apparently it's a small world in the bug field. So the sponsors who are helping to make this event possible are Little Gym, Del Taco, and Molina Healthcare. This event is also in partnership with North Thurston Public Schools. Not only do they help us advertise, but they also host quite a few of the booths that are at the event. I do hope you will buzz by Huntermore Park this October and let us know how fly this event is. Thank you for having me, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Those puns deserve a clap.
Additional openings for booths and vendors if you want to participate.
We have a few spots left, yes, and the application is available online.
Perfect, thank you.
I'm really sad that I will be in Florida. It'll happen again next year.
All right, well, does anybody have anything else?
I just want to thank Jordy for all of her hard work on this event and also our marketing efforts and everything else she does for the department. Truly appreciated it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know I'll have 4 kids there, so.
Good.
Yeah.
I'll look for them.
All right, well, thank you again. And I guess we're gonna move on to the park impact fee.
Or we have one more staff presentation.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right. Hi, my name is Cody Lee, Recreation Supervisor. Jordy, thank you for your beautiful PowerPoint. I do not have one. My apologies. I wish I had all my pictures, but I've been stuck at home and they are all on cell phones from staff at my desk. So I don't have any pictures for you tonight. But I wanted to report out about our summer recreation programs. But first, a little bit about me. I've been with Lacey Parks. I started part-time in 2002, moved to a full-time coordinator in 2007, working with our teen outdoor programs, and moved to a supervisor position here, I think in the end of 2021. So awesome time and love doing what I do. This summer, we ran multiple day camps. We had 2 day camps out at Mountain View and Lydia Hawk Elementaries. They also were the homes of our Playground Pals program. And they were awesome this summer. We had amazing staff out there at each one of our programs. We were fortunate to have multiple returning site coordinators, which makes my life so much easier out there, having staff that I know and that know the program really well. And then we added on, I don't know if everybody there has met Lauren Young, our new recreation coordinator. She started with us back in March, and she has been a huge help and a tremendous asset to our team and helped supervise all of our programs this summer. But specifically about our day camp programs, over the 8 weeks of summer, we averaged 82 kids a week at each site, or the total of 2 sites. Those registrations brought in over $116,000 in net registration fees. We provided 27 weeks of scholarships to campers, and campers were able to participate in amazing field trips for 8 weeks out of the summer, going swimming to local parks, movies, roller skating. They went to Sunshine Scoop ice cream out there in Hawks Prairie area, which is an amazing place. If you have not been out there, go check that out. So our day camps were back to being full. This is the fullest we've been since pre-COVID, and it is awesome to see. And I mentioned that our Playground Pals program was also on site. That is our free summer program that we run in conjunction with the free lunch program that the school district provides. This program served just under 600 kids over the 8 weeks, and it was great partnership that we have with North Thurston. They actually provided all the funding for this program, which will be the last year of that funding. But again, it was huge to be able to have that many kids out in the parks for the afternoon participating in free recreational programs. And then our teen camp, this is the first summer that we've run it. Our teen camp, we take teens and put them in 15 passenger vans, and they take excursions all across Western Washington. They go, I don't know, they went down to the Ape Caves, they went up to Lake Cushman, out to Ocean Shores, the Seattle waterfront, paddleboarding on Green Lake. And so they were just all over the place. And this program started out a little bit slow, but it started to gain traction and steam. And so hopefully by next summer, we will be back up to running 2 vans of teen camp, so we can double the amount of teens that we had out at camp this summer. And we did our first overnight camp that we partnered with Tumwater and Olympia Parks out at Camp Cascades. They do a 4-night camping trip out there and do outdoor recreation activities, doing swimming, zip lining. I think they played some paintball and things like that. So an awesome opportunity for teens there. And then we also ran our variety camps, which are week-long classes. They're 4 to 5 days long, depending on the camp, but they range from art camp to Lego building to chess camp. And then we do some partnering with TC Media to offer some movie making classes and things along those lines. And those were all really full. I think we had close to 200 registrations through those programs. So as you can see, we were super busy this summer, super excited. And I just want to say that I think we bring on 25 to 30 part-time staff, and they are really the ones that that make our programs successful, and they're out there doing the grind every single day. A lot of people, or most people, could probably do all the planning that I do. But it's really the staff that provide the programs and that, meet the needs of the kids and are out there doing that. And it is so cool to be able to see them make those connections and then move on. And that's one of the coolest parts of my job. I think I had a staff member this summer who, she started with us at day camp, and then she became a part-time staff, and now she's a site coordinator. And in the middle of the summer, I get a call from my cousin who's a principal out in Shelton. He said, "Hey, do you know Haley?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know Haley." He's like, "I'm looking to hire her. Is she any good?" And I was able to say, "Yes, she is amazing." And so it's, those things that make my job just awesome and amazing, and it's fun to see. And so it's cool because I get to work with, the youth, but they're like 6 to 30 now because I have part-time staff that keep hanging out and working with me, which is super awesome and super fun to see. And like I said, they're the ones really that make the program happen. So just another fun, awesome, exciting summer that we had out at the camps. Yeah, does anybody have any questions?
I do. Cody, since next year the funding runs out for the Playground Pals next year, will that program not run next year, or is there a plan to get funding elsewhere?
We will be looking at ways to get funding for that, looking at grant opportunities, and then other partnerships in the community.
Okay, cool.
And I think that it's always been, we've always run it, and it does take a loss because it is a free program for the community, and city council has always been very aware of that, but very supportive of that program.
Yeah, it's cool.
Well, thank you for all your great updates. And I guess we're going to move on to Jenny Wilson over the park impact fee presentation.
Thanks, Cody.
Thanks, Cody.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, so I think there were some questions that came up about park impact fees during the comprehensive plan update. And as promised, we're providing some follow-up information. So Jen and I met with Grant Beck, the Planning and Development Services Manager, and Ryan Andrews, the Planning Manager for the Community and Economic Development Department. So in your packet, there's a detailed Q&A information sheet from our discussion with them. Some highlights from our discussion is just an overview of what impact fees are, which I think you guys probably already know. It's that they're one-time charges assessed by local governments on new development projects to help pay for new or expanded capital facilities that help address the increased demand on the services created by that development. Currently, the city requires developers to provide 10% open space dedicated to park use with an active component for new developments. So this is why in new developments, often you see small HOA parks. This requirement was established many years ago in the city instead of an impact fee. So this was part of our discussion with the department to kind of find out the history. And so this is what we found out, was that there was a greater benefit to increasing open space as development occurred. And smaller parks close to housing developments would take pressure off the overall park system. And the development community favored the 10% option instead of an impact fee. So of course, we wanted to know more about, could we implement an impact fee? And if so, what would the consequences of that be? Because of course, as you know, our comprehensive plan is moving from an acquisition to development phase. So an analysis would be required to ensure new development only pays for an average proportional share of the new park development. So I think the significant part of that is it's just logistically complicated to determine that. And a complementary funding source would be needed because impact fees can't be the sole source of development. So kind of going back to the drawing board of, we need a funding source. In addition, funds collected need to be used within 6 years. So seems like a long time, but it's pretty short timeline. There's no funding for maintenance for anything that would be developed. And impact fees would increase housing costs when affordable housing is already really challenging, which I think we all know. So overall, there's already been a significant source of housing development in Lacey. And so their sense was that there wouldn't be a substantial source of revenue generated by implementing an impact fee at this stage in Lacey's development. So
What would be the number that if, I'm not for impact fees.
right,
You're already taxing the person. I just got off the phone this afternoon with a realtor.
mhm,
And now they're talking, stirring back up, that per acre you own, $40,000 Gopher study. Well, who in the hell is buying the houses? We
right,
can't afford them. We're taking it out of the world. And I worked for North Thurston for a long time. And they had a philosophy for a long time. They weren't collecting impact fees, for different reasons. But I see some need in some area, but I think we gotta stop. I mean, unaffordable housing people can't do it.
right. And we didn't get into specifics on what a potential impact fee, what it would cost. This is pretty preliminary discussion
Yeah.
about how did we get here? What's the history? Why it wasn't implemented earlier and what would be the consequences? So it wasn't what would the number be?
Yeah.
It
Police
definitely wasn't there.
and Fire and all the life safety stuff, I agree with. And I think the methods we have now personally are appropriate.
Right. And there is a school impact fee that the city does.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's irrelevant. School impact fees, transportation impact fees, and park impact fees are completely separate entities because they're based on the functionality of like the people that are traveling on those roads in those cities. Those are what transportation impact fees are. So that's why the people in those communities pay those fees. That's why people in cities, that are incoming, buying new homes, are paying the impact fee that's imposed on those new homes, is because the growth that is caused by the actual home and the people that are moving into said home are the ones that are going to be increasing capacity on the current park system that we have, or the current road systems we have. We can't pull from one or the other. I come from I used to work within the building industry within these impact fees, and it was a consistent fight because a lot of times the cost of those impact fees were carried on the back of the actual, let's say, builders, not necessarily huge developers, because that's a dime in the bucket pretty much for a lot of them that are around here. It's usual working collar, which most people oversee. But the thing about it is that the person that is buying the property, and generally the builder or contractor that purchased the property, keeps it all the way until the property is changed over to the new owner, the person that's moving into it, which is added to our thing. But why I'm saying all of this is because we are still working within the means, the facilities that we have. And we have reviewed multiple documents that Jennifer has presented previously, showing the outstanding list of projects and things that need to be done within our parks, within our community, that we have to keep pushing. And so it's like you talked about the timeliness of which that money needs to be spent. I mean, in most cases that I've seen, most cities move it to be able to do one big project as opposed to little piecemeals over time anyway. So that's never having enough money. It's whatever. But as far as the capacity, you know, we already are receiving, at least in my experience of seating complaints and requests for more space. Maybe we do have some of these areas, but there's only limited areas that have access to water to be able to play in the water, like Long Lake Park or Hicks Lake. You know, how many persons that actually have public access to those spaces? It's very minimal. So that's what the expansion on some park impact fees. So that's the only reason, you know, that I would see, because I mean, we're trying to continue to maintain and the capacity of, you know, our parks that we have now, but we're adding about, I don't even know what the percentage of rate of growth in this town is. I know we've exceeded Olympia, and that's, you know, I know that you guys, the city has done multiple studies, you know, related to needing more schools, which is where the school impact fee comes from. It pays for new schools. It pays for new roads, to repair the roads that we have, the highway system. You know, well, not the highway here, but you know what I mean? So, but yeah, but I felt like some of that didn't seem as clear from, you know, that's why I wanted to say that, so I apologize.
Thanks for sharing.
What do you think? There's a way to get impact fees?
There's multiple, there's impact fees, and then like what the fire department does, like one-time levy or something to that effect is also a possibility as well, as options too. But I mean, generally speaking, you know, you talk about, you know, there's a house affordability crisis, but you know, that's part of it. But the people that are moving into our space, knowing that we have a limited amount of usable, buildable land, you know, would be the ones actually shouldering that actual impact fee, because they're moving into our space. So they are going to be utilizing our fire departments, our schools, whatever, our park systems. So they should pay towards that. You know what I mean? Like saying the expansion of, okay, there's now another 100,000 people added to our community within the next 10 years. If we continue with the park that we have right now with the same budget, that's not going to be sustainable, which is the point of an impact fee, is imposing the impact fee on the new residents that are coming in the new housing developments so that they can put
The buyer
towards.
is paying for that. 'Cause
Yeah,
developer-
the buyer, not the
Well,
content, you
I mean,
know.
the buyer, that's where my part of it kind of says, now that house, instead of being 450,000, it's gonna be 470,000. So it's impacting, you know, the housing market, that's where I have struggling with it.
But the people that are paying that are the ones
Well,
coming into
there
it.
might be.
Well, I know, I mean, it's all
My daughter
coming
bought a
along
house
too,
over
but.
here, upgrade. Now she bought in a development, so now she's already done her duty.
I mean, you can buy pretty much most of these houses, if you buy an old house that's fallen apart, coming from somebody that just moved here in 2019 and buying a home. I mean, I was looking at homes that were like 450,000 that weren't as nice as some of these new homes. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's all about the same. It's already at that point, but I accept that if I am adding to the impact of the system that I'm living in, that I need to contribute to that and not expect the original system that's been trying to take care of it with a Band-Aid and maybe some glue from Elmer's. And I mean, but like, it's just like, it's, you know, everybody's walking across the bridge and then more people get on the bridge at the same time and nobody can fix it. That's all I'm saying, is that we can't fix it without money, and we can't keep inviting everybody over and letting them not pay for it. You know, that's
Yeah,
my
and
point.
I'll chime in. I think you bring up some great points, and
That was my only reason. I'm not.
yeah, and
I love your
so,
passion for finding
yeah,
money. I
well,
really
yes,
do.
yeah, well, and in the comprehensive plan, you know, it's one of the challenges is keeping up with tremendous amount of growth, significant challenge. Yes, we are a growing city. And also in the comp plan is looking at different types of funding sources and what those could be. So this is, you know, as Jenny mentioned, a great kind of overview of what park impact fees are and kind of why we are where we are at. And really, you know, part of the board's job, and also along with staff, is to really unturn any stone of like what are the possibilities. It doesn't mean necessarily that all of them, you know, would be used for funding, but it's important for all of us to understand what it is
Well, yeah, isn't it?
and what it's designed for, and what the challenges are, like Jenny said.
Currently,
So,
isn't it, used to be, and I've stayed out of the loop recently. They would collect impact fees at time and permit, half of it, half at final. So the developer putting up the money, say if impact fees for $2,000 per house, he's got 80 lot subdivision going, like, you know.
Usually it's like 150,000 before they can even break ground with permits and everything, so.
Well,
Yeah,
the
I didn't-
developer doing, yeah, I know
Yeah.
that. You have to
Yeah.
roads, bridges,
Yeah.
street lights, and everybody wants a piece of the pie that costs, that gets passed on to the homeowner.
Yeah,
Fancy lighting and all that stuff, you know, it's, homeowners pay for it in the end.
Ultimately, homeowners pay for it because the developers have a profit margin they're trying to maintain.
well, it just kind of depends. It's not a very large profit, and a lot of them have to carry that all the way to the end as well.
Right, yeah.
As well. I mean, whether if it's the guy with billions of dollars and he's a huge developer, or it's a mom and pop contractor that is, you know, building 2 houses at a time. It doesn't matter, but even in that margin and with
Yeah,
the
'cause
price,
they gotta get their
prices.
construction loans, and the interest on that, construction loans. or-
people lose,
Yeah.
they lose their home in the process of building your home. You know, and more often, you know, and there's
I
just,
wish there was a way, but I.
yeah.
You know, then you got 6 years to use it, and a lot of our stuff, just to me, what I'm saying, behind, but say if somebody give you 40 acres, you
Yeah.
have your impact fees, you got 6 years to use it. And you don't have funding to support to use it, so you gotta give it back to them.
Oh,
That's the way it used to be
yeah.
when I was up on, I used to keep records of impact fees, voluntarily impact fees, they call them in North Thurston. For developers, so much equivalent residential unit.
Yeah.
And then we could use them to move portables too, classrooms, you know, as needed in an area. So we always use those funds first. So they didn't sit there after 6 years and somebody come in and return money to the developer.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how much that's changed now. Before, I don't know.
I don't know anything about taxes, but I'm curious if the city gets any money from businesses that are here, and like, especially I'm thinking of the ones that have so many employees. They are bringing in new residents because they're big employers, like
You're right, I got it.
warehouses.
City does get taxes, yes.
Well, just depending on, you know, what it's allotted for, generally depending on, you know, what it's coffered for, so.
Does anybody else have any questions? Oh,
Sorry, that was literally my
Yeah,
job.
well,
That literally was my, no, that was just me.
So Chair Good, I would like to know a little bit more of the legal analysis that goes into whether you can use the funds for projects that are already on the books and can use them to develop the project, because we've got the McAllister Springs, we've got trails, we've got other things that are out there. I just don't know if you can use those funds to get those things up and running, or whether that's considered maintenance, which you're not supposed to use the funds for.
Oh,
I don't know. Tacoma doesn't do any of this. We don't have a single impact fee in Tacoma, so this is all new to me.
Oh, no, yes, that, they do have impact fees in Tacoma. They have multiple ones. Yeah,
well, it says here, the impact fees may only be imposed for system improvements, which are defined as public capital facilities in a local government's capital facilities plan that provides service to the community at large are reasonably related to the new development and will benefit the new development. Did that answer the question or?
Sorry, I'm a lawyer and I read that and I didn't understand it.
Oh,
A lot of careful words there.
okay,
That's okay. That's okay. I
exactly.
mean, from my perspective, I'm with Commissioner Larson. I don't like impact fees. Hate them. I don't think they do what they're supposed to do. I think the open space 10% was the better way to do things. So that's just me.
If you state your question again, we'll make sure and follow up with you.
Can those 10% open spaces, like I'm thinking of, are they only for that specific, like residents of that neighborhood can only use them? Or
Yes.
can anybody use them? Like in Maui, all the beaches are public, which I think is super cool. So even if there's a fancy resort on that beach, anyone can go and enjoy it.
I believe all the, like HOAs, they have to be public. So
They do
they
have to
might
be
be,
public.
it might be in a neighborhood, but
Yeah,
they have
yeah.
to be accessible to
Okay.
anyone.
Well, in my neighborhood's case, which is here in Lacey, we have a lakefront park that is private.
So that wouldn't have been part of the 10% that neighborhood allocated then. Because that's part of the deal, is it has to be open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Will this become like it's like a future actionable item, or we're just looking at terms right now, basically?
I think it's just more providing information from a question that came up.
I did have one more question, and it's just like, is 10% enough as we consider the growth that's happening?
It's a great question. Yeah.
And you should probably ask the lawyers that, because that could be considered a governmental taking without providing compensation back. If you're taking 10% of their land and saying you're going to dedicate it to a non-governmental, you're giving it to the government basically to develop the property, and that becomes potentially a tax. And then if it's too high, then you have to compensate the owner, developer, whatever. So I don't know where they came up with 10%. It sounds like a good number. Once again, we don't do that in the city of Tacoma, but that's just me. And I'm retiring in 3 weeks, so you'll never hear me say this again.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't sound like much back to that, but if you're, the developments I'm looking at,
Yeah.
the lot sizes are, some of the lots are 8, 9, 10,000 square feet in their backyard. You open up the patio, there's a fence.
Yeah,
You think you take 10% of that piece of property, what have you got left?
yeah,
And the developer needs to occur to make a profit, stay profitable and provide a good product. He needs to have, to get as much density as he can on a development without infringing on things. You know, I've got one
Yeah.
on by me. I mean, I won't live there because you can hear the bathroom flush in the house next door to you.
it's like living in apartments, but.
Yeah, they're straight going up, yeah, so. They all got their benefits and.
Does anybody else have any more questions? All right. Well, thank you, Jenny, again for your presentation. Sorry for going off. Um, And
Love the passion.
yeah.
Talk.
Then we're moving on to D, LPCR Comprehensive Plan with our favorite, Miss Jen Burbridge.
All right, thank you so much. This is a quick one. I just have great news for the board, just to let you know that the Lacey Parks Culture and Recreation Comprehensive Plan was approved unanimously at City Council on August 17th, 2023. So Sarah is making some final aesthetic changes, and it'll be posted very soon to the city website. Along with that, we will definitely make sure that all the board members get the link so that you can view the final version in its beautiful format. And we will also be pushing out information via social media and also out in our, city newsletter and our digital monthly newsletter that we do from parks too, just to let the public know that the plan is finalized and that it is available on the website. And then you'll probably recall that we're going to post the links to the pedestrian and bicycle plan. We will reference the museum strategic plan and also the DEI strategic plan. Once it's finished, it's still in a draft stage, but once it's finished, we will make sure that all those links are alongside so that everyone can see how those plans are connected. And that's all I have about that.
Thank you for that. I guess let's move on to E, 2023 work plan update.
Great. Yeah, I think I'll just sit over there. Okay, well, it's the time of year when we need to have the board look through the work plan and make a few updates on dates. So the work plan is in your packet, but what I've done here to show you is updated dates. I'll need to share my screen first. I will make the edits viewable for you. There we go. Okay. So this is not an actionable item for you tonight, but what we'll do is we'll just say, it was approved December 8th of 2022. But we're going to add here that we've updated it on tonight's date. And so I will just see if you have any questions as we go through, and then we'll provide the updated copy to you all. So here we have some items that are marked. Move this guy here.
Hey, Jen, so what happened to the parking lot? We're supposed to get the paving done.
Yeah, that's on here. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, great question. So you'll notice right here, right off the bat, there are 3 construction projects that are going to happen next year. And that's just due to the amount of time that our capital projects team has to pull them off. We have a bottleneck of projects right now. But as you know, funding's identified and they're still in the queue. So we'll keep you updated, but yes, good question about the rack parking lot. So they are planning to go out to add here next week to secure the construction company, the contractor. But the work won't be able to be done until next year.
What are the favorable times to get in there?
Well,
Designer or such.
yeah, so going out to add here in the next week or so is
Right.
going to be favorable bidding season. And then as far as construction itself, that's gonna have to be coordinated with our staff that have, events happening out at the rack.
No, you're pretty busy at the rack.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
is it gonna be busted up in 2 parts that the contractor gets half of it and others gotta park over at Nisqually? Or has any thought been into some phased construction to it? Instead of coming in and awarding a contract for X million, if
Just
they
ripping
could-
the Band-Aid off.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're just gonna tick people off, is what I'm afraid of. And say, no parking lot, you gotta find your own, other than, and I love the rack, but I mean, I think that that's a fairly large project.
Yeah.
Has any thought been given to phase construction, maybe phase one, we get that, we move the cars over.
I have not heard anything about phasing it. I've heard, what we have been working on is finding alternative parking. So we can utilize it. North Thurston Public Schools is pretty supportive of us using the, you know, the property over there. Also Nisqually Middle School is a good spot for that. No, I think that the construction is just we're gonna try to just get it done. That's the meetings I've been
Do
in.
you know who's designing it? Is it in-house or is it consultant? Skillings?
We did go out. I'd have to look up who the designer is for that. We did end up going out for a designer. I can find that out and get back to you.
Okay.
And then when we look at our special projects, so the comprehensive plan, obviously, we just talked about that. That was completed in August. We do have some security camera expansions that have not been started yet. So I did go ahead and change the date another year out on those. Parks Volunteer Program, since Jenny's right here, I'd like to, well, if she was here or not, we'd like to applaud her efforts in getting our Parks Volunteer Program really organized. We're gonna call this complete. As of July of this year, we had our first volunteer recognition program, and she's, I know, reported out to the Parks Board on the efforts for organizing the volunteer program. And that'll be something that her replacement for her old recreation supervisor position will oversee. The memorial or honorarium bench program, as we went through the process and you approved and updated the policy for this, it's now called the enhancement program. So I did make that change. That was complete as of May of 2023. The wildlife information is still ongoing. I kind of just moved it a little bit later this year. I know that there's been a lot of good progress on that. The community garden pilot project, the Woodland Creek Food Forest. Unfortunately, we don't currently have a nonprofit organization to partner, so we're still looking for that. But as you know, the board updated some policy language around this project, so
I
we
do
did make
have
some progress.
ideas. Have you guys heard of Grub?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
And there's some other ones, Growing Veterans, that also do it because it's therapeutic to veterans and individuals that were wounded. So,
nice.
so
Yeah, we'll take any and all recommendations. We have been working with Hackey Farmers Collective. You probably recall, their schedule got pretty busy because they took over the gardens at the food bank and the Victory Garden over there that Grub used to run. And so things have been kind of shuffling around. And yes, we did originally start with Grub, but their schedule was too busy. It's just such a growing need.
well, I know
in the
a
community.
lot of organizations that are focused like that are moving over from Spokane because there is such a large military population over here. So there will be moving here for that reason, but they, you know, wildlife and native plant kind of conservatory is kind of what they do it in conjunction with, so. hopefully we'll
Please
see that
email
soon.
me any leads that you
Oh,
might have.
I got you.
Thank you. Great Cuyo Park, phase 1A construction. Of course, we've been updating quite regularly on that one. Dog off leash issues, that's obviously in progress. And Jenny, I think she's gonna mention some information during her report out. The new scholarship policy review, we renamed it, the board renamed it financial assistance policy, so I made that change. And that is complete. This round, I know that it's, we will be recommending that it goes on the work plan again next year, because Sarah is doing some research and looking at potential other changes that we might want to make to it as well. So we'll keep bringing that one back as needed. Intercity Transit Walk and Roll Partnership, Chair Goodwin was going to look at some ways to partner with Intercity Transit, so that one's still on track. We have started working on this agreement that should come before you here shortly, the Senior Services for South Sound. So I made no changes there. We're really hopeful for these park rules, that these next 3, that we can get something before you here before the end of the year. So we're still plugging away on that. Park signage, you had an update just recently, and I did move it a little bit later just because the park signage, the new park signage is not installed yet. Has been ordered though, so that's progress. And then rec phase 3, that's something we are working on behind the scenes and we'll be bringing something for you. NTPS Young Child and Family Center feasibility is still in progress. Of course, we're working with our partners, the YMCA and North Thurston Public Schools on that. RAC financial plan update is complete as of May. Lake Willis Habitat Reserve is still in the works. That's for update for interpretive signage that's out there that's aging quite rapidly. And then still working on the Great Keogh Park final design, as you know, and then the financial plan of what that'll look like for maintenance. So that'll be coming before you here shortly as well. I did.
Do you think phase 1 is gonna be ready by our meeting in October?
Well, so this is a target completion date. And
Okay,
based on, so what'll happen is I'm just making a major update to this work plan right now. And then if there's, with the dates that I know that need to change, if there's further changes, then I would mention that at your next meeting.
So I'm having a hard time seeing it. I didn't. So you're saying the Great Keogh Park phase 1, October of 23?
The design,
Oh, the design.
yeah, we're still working towards the 100% design. So that's my latest estimate of when it'll be ready.
Yeah, one phase 1.
Yeah, I mean, again, they're all target completion dates and there's sometimes factors outside of our control, so. Yeah, and then I took off the future, these were kind of placeholders so that we wouldn't forget to include those in future work plans, but we now have our Parks Capital Improvement Program spreadsheet that's in the comp plan. And so that's where we'll pull those projects from and bring them before the board for the work plan moving forward. So we won't need this little placeholder here at the end.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
About Long Lake Park?
Yes.
I got a call tonight, this afternoon. Has the city had any joint ventures with the YMCA?
In general or for Long Lake?
Well, the reason is the YMCA wants to start some programs too with water access.
Okay,
And since we're so early with the recent purchase of the 1.8 acres, is there any hope to that? I mean, have any planning been done or idea, things? And I think it'd be more for very supervised structure to, I don't know, I'm assuming swim lessons and all that too.
Kayaking,
Huh?
kayaking or those kind of things.
I didn't hear that, excuse me.
Oh, like kayaking or paddleboarding at the lake.
I don't know if I didn't get into detail. I
Yeah.
got the call this afternoon from an individual.
okay.
And I was curious about it. And I said, well, I do have a commissioners meeting tonight and I maybe should have spoken up earlier, but.
Yeah, no, that's okay. And that actually, since it's not something that's on the work plan, you could also bring that up during your report, your commissioner's report. But I will say, so the Parks Capital Improvement Program that I just mentioned that's in our comp plan does have the Long Lake planning. So we need to do an updated master plan essentially
Yeah,
to include that adjacent property, and that hasn't started yet. Because we have, so like I just mentioned before, there's so many projects in the hopper. Yeah, it's listed in there and there's an estimated year of when that'll happen. And I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it's not this year. I do know it's not.
I don't expect
Yeah.
it to happen, immediately.
Yeah.
And I don't know the details of what their needs are exactly, what kind of programs they would want to secure there. And there may be an opportunity too for them to use part of the Long Lake.
Perhaps. I mean, there's always potential for
Yeah,
partnerships.
so I mean, and I think
And I want to say the YMCA purchased lakefront property recently, didn't they? Do you know, Jenny? Okay,
they did got some, I think it's out at Summit Lake.
oh, was it Summit Lake?
They
Okay.
spent some money.
thought it
out
was
there,
something
and
in
they had
Lacey.
the Opportunity at one time to buy the Carpenter's Park off of Walter. they had that opportunity and let it go.
Oh, okay, maybe that's what, anyway, I am in frequent conversation with their executive director, so I'd be happy to talk to him.
Yeah, it was just a curiosity call that I got.
I think that there's always potential for partnerships and happy to
Yeah.
pursue that once we,
I don't know how their funding sources, they're begging for money too, like everybody else, don't have any money to do anything they want.
well, that's where partnerships can be beneficial.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the updated dates for the work plan? Okay, I'll make those and get that copy out to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jen. Next, we have reports. I guess, you know what, do you have anything? Do you guys have anything?
I don't.
Well, I got a couple, maybe Sarah can catch what I was talking about. What about the YMCA? Did you hear all that? About Lacey, maybe partnership.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, put that in there, that I would like to research that a little bit more, maybe. And then I was wondering, a while back I asked, I know you guys are in this pickleball crunch. Well, I happened to have my family up over last weekend and I painted one on my asphalt. They never had so much fun. And I'm gonna permit one, but earlier in the year, I suggested a couple things that in the summer and the high use. I can't believe how easy it would be,
Yes, please.
not some pickleball courts on parking lots in North Thurston and around the community, to relieve that, some of the situations you guys are in, because it is popular. School's gonna be hard if they do it there, but oh, that's elementaries.
Yeah.
Play sheds,
Yeah.
all of them got play sheds.
Do any other commissioners have anything?
I do not.
How about online?
Jenny, are you taking over next month?
I will certainly be here. I don't know if I'll be taking over fully.
Well, at some point you are.
Yep, I'm not entirely sure when, but every time a little bit more.
I know I would just, now that the summer's over and the Lazy and Tunes program has completed, I've opportunity of helping with the MC out there and just seeing how well it ran.
Get my mouse in the right spot.
Amount of, great hats and just staff. So I just wanted to just thank everyone at the Performance Department for putting together another great year of Lacy and Tunes. It's fantastic.
Sure to pass that along to our med staff.
Well, as far as for me, kind of related to what Jen was talking about earlier. I just wanted to take a moment and talk about the gentleman, Michael Jamison, that we spoke on earlier. I was fortunate enough to serve on the Gold Star Memorial Foundation Board of Lacey with Michael Jamison. I am a Gold Star family member, which the monument, is directed for fallen soldiers' families. So I definitely have a very strong and deep appreciation for him, for leading that project for, how many years? Is 3 years? 3 years. And it was really crazy at times. And but we pulled through it and actually dedicated March 30th of this year, which I am so grateful that he was here to see all of his hard work pay off. And he was a Marine veteran. And yeah, exactly right. And it's something that just kind of stays with me. I just want to say, he always talked to me about kind of what prompted him to do that monument. And he had said that as him being a Vietnam veteran, that, when he came home, he never got the welcome home like they do these days, and they were spit on. And so he hid his identity of being a veteran for a very long time until he actually came in contact with a Gold Star mother, who opened arms and, welcomed him home and embraced and brought him over, and which is what kind of turned around and created this love for our community, which is part of the military community. And, like I said, he worked at US Bank, I know professionally, but I know he was on the Thurston County Veterans Coalition Board. He has been the Lacey Chamber President. He was with Thurston Relay for Life every single year. He saved pink. He would dye his hair and his beard pink, and they would have a thing at Rutledge Farm. And I can't even tell you how many other organizations and how much money he has raised and given throughout this community. And he loved the city of Lacey. He lived here. And like I said, I am very grateful that I served with him on the foundation board. I am glad I'm able to say he was my friend. And I am forever grateful that he helped bring that monument to honor my children, my late husband who died in 2011, and have given me a space as a transplant coming from outside of this community. And my husband is buried in Kansas. And so it's very far away for me to see him. So that monument that you guys see there in Civic Plaza is like a place that it's like visiting his grave to me and other families, a lot of Gold Star families in Lacey and Thurston County. And people come over from counties to come to that monument. And he was part of that and bringing here, and I'm eternally grateful. And I just wanted to make sure that this board knows his name, and, the community hears his name and knows, that he brought that to life here. So, thank you for hearing me, I guess.
Thank you, Amber.
Thank you. I do have some information related to his services. If anybody would like to stand for him, there is going to be full military interment of honors at Tahoma National Cemetery. And that will be on September 14th. And you can locate Funeral Alternatives of Washington is where you can see Michael Jamison's obituary. And it'll have, because there's a funeral mass and then the interment at Tahoma. And then the next day over at Indian Summer Country Club, where they did Lacey's South Sound Chamber on September 15th at 2 to 6 p.m. There will be a celebration of life. And it'll see 2 p.m. to 2:30, food will be served, and 3 p.m. the opening comments by his wife Estella as well. But I'm happy to forward this over to you if you'd like, so you can push it out.
Sure.
And
it sounds like it's open to the public?
yes,
I mean,
it's open to the
anyway.
public.
Okay.
It'll be at Tahoma, and then the funeral mass will be at Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Lacey, Washington. And then
Thank you, Amber.
no problem. Thank you again, and thank you, Jen. I know he loved you too, and thank you so much for, because I know you got to know him just as well as I did. So big hugs to you too.
Any ideas to recognize them?
I'm sorry.
I mean, any,
Oh, yeah, actually, my husband's brick, actually, Coin Force of Lacey. It's they make military stuff from Lacey. They sponsored a brick for my husband, and so it'll say Coin Force Salute Sergeant John T. Good, and as its dates, and it's on the back side, so the one where you see Mount Rainier and Iwo Jima and everything, and it's kind of like the middle left. But you'll see good, so once you see that. And then actually Michael Jamison, he has a couple bricks, that have his name on it, because he donated like 14 times, I swear, of his own money to that project too, because he wanted to help move it along, so, yeah.
Wow.
Right. Well, anybody else have anything? Okay, and then I don't have any notes from Wendy. Next, recreation manager.
The summer, obviously, as you guys know, the summer's ended. Our staff did a phenomenal job of making sure that everybody in the community, everything was met. The swim lessons went great. The day camps went, fabulous. It was a really good year all the way around. All of our stuff is getting back up to the 2019 level. The community buildings, the community center, Jacob Smith House are exceeding their revenue, and the community center has got not only community classes in it, but they're growing in the actual rentals as well. The rack is growing, and just kind of a little bit of a, I guess not a, kind of a correction. The parking lot is already out to bid. They will be opening the bids on the 12th of September. So we'll be hopefully moving forward with that sooner than later. But as you've got all the stuff in the packet, staff did a great job. Couldn't ask for anything better. They are a wonderful and incredible group of kids or of individuals. That's it.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you, Sue. Okay, our next one is Senior Parks Planner.
Thanks. So I'm giving the report for our maintenance supervisor, Jamie. He's not here tonight. So their report is a contractor added 2 gates to the fence surrounding the Lacey Depot playground. They've received several requests for gates and had funding to complete the project. A section of fence was removed at the Rainier Vista pickleball courts on the north side of the courts. So this was previously, if someone hit a ball outside the fence, they'd have to walk all the way around the pickleball court to retrieve it. So by removing it, the park patrons can now walk out either side. So I think balls get hit outside quite often. So that's very helpful to a lot of people, including myself. I've recently started playing pickleballs. The Depot Park playground has recently had its first damage to the pour in place rubber playground surface. So it's still under warranty. So the vendor is covering the repairs for that. And field lighting warranty on 5 of the 6 synthetic fields at the rack has expired, and a contractor is going to replace the lights on the synthetic soccer field and baseball fields 1 and 4, and they're going to come with a 5,000-hour warranty. And for planning, I am currently researching some off-leash dog solutions, and I'm going to present those at an upcoming meeting. Currently, I'm working on collecting some data, talking to other professionals. It's no easy solution, as I'm sure you can imagine. And
I want to talk about poop.
right, no, I'm trying real hard to not talk about poop. We committee met recently on the enhancements policy, and we reviewed the first round of applications. So that'll be coming at an upcoming meeting for you guys to discuss. And also we will be having a new Lacey Youth Council Parks Board member that will be joining us soon. They just recently reconvened and got new youth council members. And so they're hoping to have someone probably at our October meeting.
Awesome. All right, next director.
Okay, thank you. Couple of items to report on. Just locate my notes here. The RAC financial plan was approved by City Council on August 17th, 2023. So you all had recommended it back in May. So I wanted to make sure we have closure on that. Great news, received $6,000 for financial assistance from the Park Foundation of Thurston County. So that will go into our financial assistance program. That's the one that Sarah oversees allocation to families and kids in need in the community. Greatly appreciate them donating that. I wanted to note that we had our first volunteer appreciation event, August 11th at Rainier Vista Park. I know that a couple of you were able to attend, so thank you for going, raise the roof.
Thank you.
And thank you to Jenny for putting it together. We're hoping that that's something that can really grow and we can get more participation. So we appreciate that. And then I wanted to mention that In the grants arena, there is a new parks maintenance grant. It's been released by the Recreation and Conservation Office, or RCO, and it's a little different than what they normally do. There was one-time funding that was approved by legislature, and it got into the final budget for $5 million statewide. You can submit one application per agency for up to $100,000, and it has to meet their requirements for what is considered deferred maintenance. So Jenny and I have been working with our grants manager to see what project we might be able to put in for. They released the information on August 15th and it's due September 18th. So
Of course.
it's very quick, but we're appreciative for the opportunity. And so we'll definitely let you know what comes of that. But going to council tomorrow night to get approval to apply, we have to have the organization's authoritative board approve even to apply for it. So I'll be doing that tomorrow night. And then my last item is that we got 22 applicants that passed the minimum qualifications for Jenny's replacement recreation supervisor position. And Sue will be overseeing the interviews for those next week. For those that'll be interviewed. So we're excited to get that filled. I guess one last thing is that we survived summer, so.
Yeah.
Yay. All right, any last thoughts? Well, if there's nothing else, then we adjourn at 6:51 PM. Next meeting is October 4th, 2023 at 5:30 PM online or here in council chambers. Thank you.